Hello, everyone, and welcome to Monday Night Chat with SK. I just want to say I truly apologize for the delays and the gaps in streaming. I'm having some tech issues with my StreamYard account, and so I'm having to find backdoor ways of promoting and going live. Hence why I haven't been on in a while. I want to give the best quality podcasting experience that I can, and without my StreamYard account, it kind of makes things a little thrown together. So, in integrity of my word, I wanted to come live and just, talk a little bit about um, some things that I think is important to share with you all. One with, self disclosure and just really being open and authentic when we're talking about real talk. Real talk right now, life has been really, really weird for me, and I've been in a space where I've been feeling stuck, like, having all these gifts and talents and experience doesn't necessarily lead right to a pathway or straight pathway into something that feels good and feels important to you, right? A lot of self-help books tell you to do this and do that, but sometimes when you feel that ceiling type of perspective, like where you feel like you've reached your peak, and it's just a feeling, it's not the truth, it's not even real. It's a feeling that you get sometimes in your profession, where you feel like, where do I go next, or what's my next level? And I'm the type of person where I don't like to just go into something just because I need a new opportunity, right? I don't want to say yes to something that I'm going to later regret. And so I try to take time to reflect on what it is I really, really want to do. Because when I followed that impulsive feeling of like, oh, I need to make ends meet, I need to make money, I need to do something, I can't just be lazy, I find myself in the middle of things that don't feel right, that are not a good fit for me. And then um, eventually I crash and I burn, right? Um, and there was something that came up for me recently about, and this quote that came to my brain: don't label your political pain as your passion, and or the politics of your pain as your passion. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times some of us, we look to things that we've been through, our experiences, and we say, you know what, I want to help someone not experience what I experienced. So let me go into said profession so that I can be of service, right? And you say things like, because I went through this has become my passion to see others not experience it. And, that used to be a feel good statement for me. Like, oh, I don't, I want to be there for people in a way that people weren't there for me. And a lot of times when we follow that, the politics of that pain, we tend to find ourselves in positions of projects, not passion, because we're trying to heal ourselves through service. And I'm also saying that that's not a wrong thing either. But if you are going to go into something like that and go into a space where you're like, okay, I'm going to heal myself through service, and you may find yourself further harm through said service, right? That's the other caveat to these things. Like if you're a woman who um, experienced domestic violence, and you go into anti-domestic violence or healing or some type of work around domestic violence, you can find yourself in a space where the conversation is always being had, and it can re-trigger something inside of you. um, and then harm happens, and then, whereas something that you thought was passion had become the politics of your pain, had become uh made it harder for you to move forward or move past the situation, because you're constantly in a conversation about that pain. You're constantly reliving, regurgitating the information that's related to that pain. And it takes a lot to do that without getting harmed, right? But there's a whole world of people doing this that we believe that it's the best way to do it, right? Again, I am anti-bias when it comes to telling people what and how to feel, because if I experience something one way, it doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. It's just, this is my perspective of it, right? And it's just another way of looking at something. But I've come to realize that I've been so connected to my pain that I have mistaken it for passion. And now I'm finding myself in this whirlwind, or this battle with my pain story that haven't been in a very long time. When I was working in politics, when I was working in education and reform, when I was working in housing advocacy, when I was doing all those things, I was not having pain conversations. Now, that doesn't mean that I wasn't feeling um, some of the pain, right? That doesn't mean I wasn't experiencing the trauma, but I wasn't constantly in conversation about my pain. And when I went into a peer support, um, even though I was trained on how to tell my story without aligning it with the trauma I experienced or the pain I experienced, it was, there were things that were said to me, done to me, um, said around me that I experienced that constantly pulled the scab of my experiences off, kept pulling the scabs off, kept pulling the scabs off. And I'm a very empathetic person. And so if someone says something to me or tells me something, it does impact me in a way where I think about, if I had experienced that, what would I have done or what would I feel? And, also, being in those conversations can sometimes, um, you can pick up on other people's, you know, thought process, right? And so this is just about protecting yourself from things that may not align with your actual purpose, right? You can also still be in that environment in a way that rings true for you, right? Maybe you don't need to be in the thick of things where you can be further harmed. I am a writer. I am a speaker. I am a trainer. I am a facilitator, and I am a coach. And I don't fit in many boxes, even with all those titles and experiences, right? Even with all that talent, I don't fit in a box. And I remember feeling like I needed to start fresh when I came into the peer support industry. I said, even though I have all this experience, I'm new to this industry. So I need to come in humble and take on roles so I can learn the ways of this industry. And so I took on roles that, I wasn't getting the salary that I should have been getting based on my experience. I took on roles with really big titles with a low salary and a high demand with no real plan. Um, I took on roles that felt good, but the organization wasn't aligned with my core values. And you got to think about that too. Just because an organization has a job title that you like, or because they have some type of popularity in certain space, if that organization's culture doesn't align with yours, you can find yourself in a really tough situation. But let's get back to the conversation of being stuck, right? Now, I talked a lot about, you know, things that, kind of open my eyes and what I've been thinking about. But that feeling of stuck, it can be very harmful. It can be very hurtful when you feel like, where do I go next? You find yourself beating yourself up about not having or being enough to pursue the dreams that you want, or feeling like you're wasting your time, or you don't know what you want to do. And, maybe you need to do this and maybe you need to do that. And that stuck feeling can be very lonely. I've had 3, maybe 4 conversations about stuck feelings from 3 to 4 different individuals who were feeling it in similar ways, but also in very different ways. A lot of people are feeling stuck when it comes to career. Some people are feeling stuck when it comes to their relationships. Some people are feeling stuck when it comes to their finances. And there's so many ways that people can feel stuck. And the question is, how do you get unstuck? How do you move forward? How do you break free of that bondage that's telling you or making you feel like there's not a way forward? How do you do it? How do you do it? And I know y'all looking at the screen like, tell us. The thing is, I don't have the answer, right? I only have my own experience. Today, I made a decision to come live and get unstuck when it came to this podcast. I made a decision to open myself up and share something that is happening to me personally. I made a decision to be vulnerable and not be perfect in order to have something move forward, right? I could have kept sitting around like, oh, well, I'm having tech issues with the platform. There's no need to go live because I don't have my studio. This is going to look bad on my brand because I don't have my studio set up. And I could have continued to spiral, thinking that I couldn't produce the podcast because I didn't have everything all together and everything wasn't perfect. And the reality of that is, when you do that, you begin to procrastinate, and procrastination leads to not failure, but inactivity. So when you feel like you're stuck, do one thing. Do one thing that you can say, I did that. Don't try to do it perfect. Don't try to do it grand. Don't try to do it with so much power and gumption that you will stress yourself out. Just do it. Just do it. Someone told me the other day that they were having trouble with cleaning up and getting their house together. And this is advice that was given to me, and I try to share with other people. Just clean a corner, clean a desk, clean a cabinet, clean a counter, and every day pick a small space to clean, and then at least you'll feel accomplished, and that might motivate you to do something else. Or when it comes to feeling stuck in your relationships, take some time to yourself. Say, you know what, I'm going to step away from being with someone to be with myself for just a moment. And if you have a partner who has emotional intelligence, they're going to not see that as you're rejecting them, but see that as you're trying to be better for them, and allow you that space to take time to reflect and realize what it is that you really want. Relationships are hard. All relationships, whether that's relationships with your children, relationships with your friends, relationships with your family, and romantic relationships, all relationships are difficult to manage at times because they're so complex and they go through many stages, sometimes multiple stages at once. So feeling stuck doesn't mean you're failing. Feeling stuck means you're alive. Feeling stuck means you matter and you care about who you are, what you do, what you share, how you experience things, and the people around you. Feeling stuck means that, I want better for my experience, and I'm not just gonna go and do anything just to be seen. And a lot of times feeling stuck comes from feeling invisible. um you feel like no one really sees you for who you are and who you want to be, and so you hide or you isolate, um or you stop trying because you don't feel appreciated. And all of those feelings are valid. Don't let anyone tell you that your feelings are invalid. Don't let anyone tell you that what you're experiencing is premature or immature, or that you lack an understanding of who you are. I can't stand people saying, love yourself. I could love myself and still not feel great. You know, I could love myself and still feel like I need more for life, right? A therapist told me that she doesn't believe in willpower. And I was like flabbergasted because I'm like, okay, what is there to motivate you if you don't have willpower? People tell you pull your bootstraps up and just go out there and get it done. So if you don't believe in when she said that, I was just like, what do you mean you don't believe in willpower? She said willpower sometimes comes with motivation or purpose, and sometimes it needs something to like kind of fuel it. Like willpower needs an igniter, it needs a fire, it needs something to ignite it. And if you don't have that, you know your rocket ship will not launch. They used to call it it was a statement they used to use about that. Like, I can't think of it right now, sorry. But your rocket ship won't go fly high without something to get it started. I talk about mine like a pilot light, you know, on the stove, and you just get click, 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 click. And, you're doing things, you're stopping things, you're doing things, you're stopping things, and all of it is just bringing gas in the house, and nothing is really lighting up. Um, I talk about, that part of me like a light bulb. My therapist, suggested doing art therapy to kind of like, you know, get my creativity to be active, and then that might start a flame that get me to thinking about how I want to show up, what are some things I want to do, plan my next level, my next thing. I thought I would have the answers after I finished my semester in school. I thought I would have all the answers when I started to get booked for speaking engagement. Even with having those things and completing them, I still don't know what's next. Doing the podcast is great. Like, I love, having conversations. I love promoting people and their greatness. I love putting great great people and focus on community and focus on real life things before anything else. Like, y'all notice I don't do celebrity gossip on my podcast. It's just not something that I want to do. That doesn't mean I don't look at celebrity gossip, but I don't want it on my platform. Right? That's not something that I've ever wanted to do. I don't want to bring people, especially if they can't defend themselves, bring people's business to my platform just to get likes and streams, because I don't think it's fair. A lot of times people are being talked about on podcasts and they don't even have the ability to defend themselves. And then we're consuming it and we're making judgment about it and building biases on information that's one-sided, right? Whether it's true or not, fact or fiction, whether it's something that we're all seeing and it's kind of, out there, it doesn't matter. Those people don't get to defend themselves. And, I never felt good about that. Now, do I see some things that I wish that we can like definitely chat about? Because it's like, oh wow, that's something I experienced, or oh wow, I wish I was that person's friend, because I would tell them, hey, I would tap them on the shoulder like, hey, that's probably not a good idea. Of course, celebrity gossip is, very attractive to a lot of people, and we can binge watch it all day long, and we can escape into their world just for a minute, just to get away from the things that we're experiencing. But as a platform, I want to encourage us to talk about what we got going on so that we can improve our lives, right? Based on who we are, not on some celebrities' standard of living. They may not have the same circumstances as we have, not just money, but whatever the circumstances. Some people have told me, well, celebrities are human beings. They are. They are human beings in the sense of what human beings, are, but they are also people who have an extending complex circumstance that makes them a little different, that we don't often give them grace for, right? They have really a lack of control of their privacy, whereas we have almost 100% of privacy of our lives. And so, although they're human, they're different because they lose some of their self-agency through media, and that, vulnerable space they're in as celebrities, people who are celebrities and, on TV and things like that. So this platform is really about the everyday person who wants to talk about their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, their challenges, how they feel about the world view. That's what really like turns my gears. I love to teach about the lessons I've learned. Like, I'm no celebrity. I don't, aspire to be one. I just want to be a woman of integrity. I want to be a woman who doesn't go through things and keeps it quiet and, gatekeep life experiences. Um, I want to be someone who questions things that don't seem right. I want to be the person that inspires, aspires, and transcends communities to be their best self. And I want to be somebody who's bringing information to a platform that may be useful for others. I have some stuff coming up in the next couple of months. I'm going to be bringing authors to talk about their books and, some of the framework they're doing, because shared knowledge is best knowledge. We can't continue to depend on the internet to tell us things, because sometimes information is, frugal, right? But when you hear it from, people who, with their lived experience, sometimes it's like a breath of fresh air. I know we're doing this on the internet per se. Like, you will have to go to my YouTube page to see this live. But I would also say that, you know, having people come on and share their experience, it frees them, right? It frees them. It gives them an opportunity to talk about what they're excited about, what they're passionate about, what they believe in, and share a perspective with you. You'll get like 20, 30 different perspectives in a given day or more, right? I'm just being modest. Every conversation you're getting a new nugget of perspective. Every time you look or see or hear something, you get in a new perspective. I don't know how many times I've seen a new bug this summer that I never knew existed. I'm like, ilk. So every day we're learning something new. So I encourage us to be open. Feeling stuck is not bad. Feeling stuck just means that you need to pay a little bit closer attention to the things that feel stuck and unravel them slowly, like, with a rope that gets that gets tangled. You want to detangle uh, that stuck feeling and see where things are getting connected, where things are looping, where things are tangling, um, or not clear, so that you can move forward in your life. Um, I don't want to say anything cliche like life is short, but it is, right? Or long, or whatever. At the end of the day, we have no control over how long we're here and things like that. But what we do have control over is what we do while we're here. And if you spend days, hours, moments, seconds, minutes, just beating yourself up, comparing yourself. um I want to challenge you to do something different. I want to challenge you to write down your goals and experiences, your goals, not your experiences. Write down your goals for life, and not just try to complete the goal. Find out why that's what you want to do. Find out why, right? We don't have to just follow things because we're trying to fix something that we feel is broken inside of us. We don't have to go out and share our pain with the world. We could keep it to ourselves, in a way where we're still healing, but we're not out there just, being vulnerable, searching for purpose. You matter, you matter whether you never talk to a human being a day in your life. So purpose is a part of your breath. You just waking up in the morning is purpose. Your purpose on earth is to be here, to exist. And so don't fight so hard to align yourself with a thing to feel important. You are important if you stand still and never do anything but that. People want you to keep producing, keep being active, keep, you know, doing this and doing that and doing that. And then when you die, they just, mourn you for a couple of days and move on. Don't pressure yourself to produce for the purpose of other people. Live your life on your terms and on at your time, on your timeline, for whatever that is. That's career, whether that's relationship, education. Live your life on your time, on your timeline, in your way. Being stuck just, to me, feels more like you're not what everybody wants you to be. So you stop moving. Or you feel like you're not good enough, or you feel like you're not worthy enough, or you don't feel appreciated. You are. You're everything you need to be in every moment and every time that you're in it. It don't always feel good, for sure. But what's feeling good? What makes you feel good? And what tells you that something is bad that makes you feel bad? It's these expectations that are in the world. Oh, you gotta work, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta be somebody. Da, da, da. Every song, you wanna be somebody. If you wanna go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention. We sang that at our junior high school graduation. It's been pumped into us to be. And if you're not being something, then you're a waste. That's not true. You matter no matter what you're doing in this moment. And when you're ready to make contribution to whatever it is that you choose, you'll continuously matter then too. So don't label the politics of your pain as your purpose. And all these things I spoke about today are the politics of your pain, people's expectations, feeling good enough, producing even when you don't know what you want to do. Those are politics of your pain. That's your trauma response to something that happened to you that's telling you you need to be, do, and have something in order to matter. You matter no matter what, is what I say. So I'm going to end this live with that. And I'm going to say thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for your support. And hopefully next time that we are on this platform, we will be in our studio and we'll be, meeting with some amazing people to talk about some great topics. But I wanted to come here to share how I feel, to share what I'm experiencing, and hopefully it can bless someone's heart. Everybody have a wonderful night. This is Monday Chat with SK, and I'm SK.